3 kids, 1 broke dad. 3 kids, 1 broke dad. Let's go thrift shopping for my kids' Christmas. 3 kids, 1 cheap dad. We're at Goodwill. We need Halloween costumes. Thrift shopping with me as a broke dad. Yes, I said a broke dad of 3 kids. Broke dad, broke dad, broke dad, broke dad, broke dad, broke dad.
Today's video is all about Chris, the solo dad. And if you don't know who Chris is, he is first a TikToker. This is his page right here. He has 669,000 followers. As you can see here, his profile says, I'm just gonna move myself down. His profile says solo, not single parenting. And that wasn't there until, I don't know, I think it's that call out video. This one person on TikTok did a video.
Okay, so I'm at the park right now with my golden doodle and my 2 daughters, and I just had to hop on here because I have to talk to somebody about this. So I've been following a fellow creator here on TikTok named the Solo Dad, and I couldn't understand, like, he made it seem like it was just him, and he has 3 kids. He has like an 8-month-old baby. He said that, you know, he's kind of like in a financial hardship, and it's really hard balancing, you know, finances and all this stuff, and he's a solo parent. Well, I thought he meant like, you know, he parents by himself. No, he's married, and his wife and him just work different schedules. So that's what he means by solo parenting. So he's gainfully employed, she's gainfully employed. They have a 2-income household, and you know, she's home as much as he is. They just work different schedules. I feel so gullible.
And then he also has a YouTube channel with 375,000 subscribers. He does not put that solo, not single parenting blurb there. And then he has this Facebook page here, which has 449,000 followers, as well as this backup of 260,000 followers. And he does not talk about being solo, not single parenting, but he does, as you can see here, on his Instagram, which is 625,000 followers. So the first time Chris ever came across my For You page, like organically on TikTok, was shortly after this video got posted in May of 2024, so just last year. As you can see, I just went back recently just to screenshot to show when this video came out, but I saw this video because you really see dad TikTokers, and when you see them more now, they are more, I'll just share those in a second. But I saw this video of this dad doing like late night shopping, and I'm like, whoa, this single dad, like, he's so cool because he comes across as a single dad. That is the problem here.
It's 8:48. The store closes in 12 minutes. I just got off work. I have to get a lunch for my son's school field trip tomorrow. Should I grab a cart? No, I don't need that. For all those people that work in retail, I'm sorry I came in so close to closing. Chicken nugget or chicken dunks? What's the difference? Did you guys know they sell Uncrustable making kits on Amazon? I ain't got time for that. Why do my kids eat 40 pounds of berries every week? I wonder if you're allowed to have free samples of these. I think I just forced myself to like these. I should have grabbed that cart. They said you can only bring a plastic water bottle. I gotta get out of this store. They're gonna take me out. Can't go wrong with Pringles. I literally came in for one thing. They gotta let me out. Thank you. At least I saved $48. Guys, I swear I'm gonna bring my cart back.
Like I said, I really liked this guy when he first came across my page because all the TikTokers you typically see are just exploiting their kids, but I didn't know he shared his kids in such great detail. And then the other stuff, it just seems all fake, right? So when you see a dad who seems really genuine, it's really cool to see. And then this video that I played for you earlier came across my For You page like organically, which is freaking crazy. It's this right here, from the Reborn family. She has like 11,000 followers on TikTok. She posted this, as you can see, in March 29th. So like a month and a bit before, but TikTok doesn't always show you things that are like current in the algorithm, but things that suit you. So it must have known that I watched his video. And because she tagged him in the caption, it came across my page. It actually came across my page in July, which is why it came after. So yeah. So as you can see here, I commented July 20th, 2024, and I said, I never knew. I don't follow, but he comes across my FYP. Even though he says solo parent, it visually looks like he's single, and I've never heard him mention wife. But I don't watch all his stuff because, like I just told you a few moments ago, I didn't know he actually exploited his kids and, like, you know, shared them in great detail, but he never mentioned wife. And I just thought, wow, solo, and people are so curious about his story. So these are the types of comments I'm referring to that he gets on his videos like all the freaking time. I just took screenshots like sometime in the fall of last year. But here, this is a comment from June where he was going to Sam's Club and saying it was like too expensive. We don't have that in Canada. I think it's like a Costco kind of. But you can see here the person said, I'll add you to my membership. That's so kind of you. I'm going to buy one for there or Sam's Club. I'm still deciding. Or maybe it was the Costco video. And then this one here as well that says, single mom here, Aldi's a lifesaver. And he said, yes, love Aldi's. So the fact that this person said single mom here is the thing that people are assuming that solo is single because, like, for example, like most people think solo parenting has to do with, it's not single, but if you're solo parenting, say your husband's deployed, something like that is considered solo parenting. Or you have a husband who works like 10 days on, 10 days off, something like that. That would be solo parenting because you're truly solo and by yourself, not just like they're at work. Like my husband's at work and I don't call it solo parenting. I'm just a stay-at-home mom. And he gets like tips and tricks. Oh, there's so many on the ones of his kids being sick. And he's literally a physician's assistant. I haven't gotten into that yet, but it's bonkers that people give him medical advice when he is a medical professional. But it says like for the laundry, I have some racks to hold laundry, blah, 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 like a tip on doing laundry. And he was like, what a great idea. Do you make the racks yourself? And then like tips when getting your kids in the car about using the potty. And he says, I do. And then someone still needs to go. And then he gets comments, of course, who helps you when you're on your 12-hour shift. And he says, my son goes to school and my girls go to daycare. And everyone's like, you're amazing. But people do comment and say like, well, daycare's closed. So what do you do if you know, like during the night, like he says he does that at nighttime, like, but he works during the day, but he also says he works a graveyard shift sometimes. So it's interesting, right? Like he is like conning women to like this sob story of like poor him. And it's very confusing how any of his family would see any of his content and think that that's even appropriate to do. Now, besides the video, which I'll play next for you about asking like, do you have a wife? And he did a Q&A once back a long time ago. And then some like fake account on Facebook that has 20K followers reposted it recently. But he had posted, I think, in 2023, September 2023, the Q&A. But this one, like I said, I've only seen 2 comments, but I don't go through all his videos. But for the purpose of my video, at the end of the year, I did go through his videos. But there was a comment here, where's mom? And he said, work. And then like all the people come to his defense in the comments saying like his mom watches the children because he only ever says like his mom. He never says my wife. Like why the secrecy? It's honestly fucked up. Like it's just like really toying with women's emotions, even though he's well off. And there's actual good single dads on TikTok that could use more of the support than this guy being like, in my opinion, kind of like a con artist.
What's the difference between a solo parent and a single parent? Am I single? Am I married? Hey guys, sorry it took me so long to get back with the Q&A. I work full time. Between that and the kids, I don't have a lot of time to shoot these videos. I had a lot of questions, so we're just gonna try to go through them one by one. What do I do for fun? I like to be outdoors. I like to hike. I like to go fishing.
A little derail from Jessica in the future, which I'll explain why it looked slightly different then. But as you can see, this is from his Facebook profile. He mentions in the Q&A there that he likes fishing, right? It's him with a fish, obviously. And what I learned is when he goes on, he like has shown that he's gone on vacation and people wonder who's watching the kids. He says his mom, but this is him at the Major League Fishing. I don't know anything about it. I did see the annual membership $70, which isn't much, but if you're truly broke, you're not going to spend money on that, in my opinion. I mean, unless, like I said, you live above your means. But this is him in one of many pictures at the Major Fishing League. So this is a hobby of his, which I don't know if fishing's an expensive hobby, but I just wanted to mention it anyways.
The biggest question I get asked is, what's the difference between a solo parent and a single parent? Am I single? Am I married? So the difference between a solo parent and a single parent is essentially, as a solo parent, you are parenting the children while the partner is away, either being deployed or at work.
As you can see here, I did find his medical profile because if you don't know, medical professionals are considered public figures. I am not like doing any such crazy deep diving that it's impossible to find. It's pretty quick and easy, honestly. But you can see here that he works in an urgent care, which is why he works some graveyard shifts. I thought he worked in like an actual office, but apparently he works in urgent care. Chris, his wife, and his children live in Florida. I've blocked out the area of Florida that they live. I believe it's like outside of Orlando. But here it says that the average salary for his profession is $122,000 a year. And that, which is the average apparently, but it can go as high as 184,000 and as low as 81,000, probably depending on like what city and like the need and stuff. I don't know how it works, but he makes a buttload of money. Okay, sorry for the change in lighting. If you watched my channel before, you know I have young toddlers and they're finally asleep and it's late at night. So I was able to also find his wife's medical professional profile. I obviously blocked out everything that is identifying with her, but she is, as you can see here, let me move over. As you can see here, she is a family nurse practitioner, and they are not originally from the area that they live. I know they lived in another state with my very basic research, well, basic to me, but anyways, so this is her profile. You can see she has an advanced practice registered nurse. I was looking this up because I don't know anything about it, if she would be working in like hospitals and stuff, and apparently they can work in hospitals. Sorry, I sound ill-informed. I'm not in that world. And then when I looked up how much they make in this profession, it says that the top earners earn $122,000 a year, and the 75 percentile, $104,000. And then the average is about $95,000. So if we take into account like the average, say she makes like $100,000 a year, say she's like slightly above, because I believe she did schooling while having kids. So I don't know what she did before this schooling, if she was like an LPN or something, you know. That means collectively as a couple, they make around $220,000 a year, which is a lot. Like, I know they live in an expensive area, but it's bonkers to me that he is portraying himself as a broke dad. And I know broke is subjective, but I feel like the general population thinks broke has a hard time paying their bills, a hard time getting food, living paycheck to paycheck. And yes, this could also mean that maybe they live above their means. You know, when you make more money, sometimes you spend more money. So it could be that. But it is not up to us in the social media world and the viewership to help provide that income, because I've heard from comments and stuff that he did like Amazon wish lists and stuff like that. Like, that should be really safe for the people who really need it, you know, not people who are like some of the top earners in society. Sorry, I changed my hair. I've gained so much weight lately. I hate my hair down, but it also doesn't look great with the green screen. But anyways, so which is so annoying because my hair's black. So Chris and his family moved in May of 2024. He had posted about this, but never shared any details, didn't do house tours, that sort of thing, which is why I've blurred his house as much as possible. So the house was listed, if this is on Zillow, so I don't know if it's correct, but it was listed for $450,000. And I don't know how to read any of this stuff correctly, but it looks as if it sold for $432,000. So to me, that is not someone who is broke. You can see in his videos and stuff what his area looks like. He shares his backyard and all that kind of stuff. Like, he is not broke, in my opinion. Like, I mean, to the vast majority of the public, I would think a lot of us would think he is not broke, able to buy a house in May, you know, like, you're not a broke dad, okay? Like, you may feel broke because you went and spent a bunch of money on a house, right? Because you're previously living in a place that you were renting, you know, so it is a big adjustment to buying a house, right? And all the costs that can incur that you didn't expect of, you know, things you need to get fixed and whatever, but you're not broke. So he posted this video right here back in August. It has 3.2 million views, and you're going to see why. But it says he arrives at 1 o'clock in the morning, and take a look at his place.
1 o'clock in the morning, I just got home from vacation. Let's see what the house looks like. Holy, why is there a pee diaper here? It's 1:18, I've been traveling all day. We're going to go ahead and give it 30 minutes. You just push everything into a pile and makes everything feel so much better. For all those people that are going to ask me who watched the kids, my mom did.
Your wife?
It's 1:25 and this is all the progress we've made so far. Please be dirty. They're clean. We can do the dishes tomorrow. Alright, it's 1:26. I'm going to give myself another 15 minutes because I'm tired. I don't know what this is, but we don't need it. Don't hit me because my kids use tablets. Does anyone actually separate their clothes? I don't have time for that.
Like, is this real or is it content?
Because this is going to take me a week to put away. We'll just leave it with the suitcases. It's 1:35. I've decided we're just going to deal with that another day. People were upset in my last video because I was vacuuming at midnight. I'm so tired of these. It's 1:42. I'm going to bed.
going on a slight little side note, is that cleaning style that you saw him just do right now, it reminded me, and there's way more content, but reminded me a lot of Joey Fu. Yes, I do follow Joey, even though he shows his kids. I really like his cleaning style. He's really funny. And I love that he mentions he has a wife like all the time. His wife is also a nurse. Joey is a stay-at-home dad who's built a massive platform, and he's now on YouTube and stuff. But I'll show you a little clip of his because he's a genuine person. I don't like that he shows his kids, but I really like Joey and his wife. I think they are a really great example of like finding your own curve in the social media world, but then also talking about like how much they love their spouse and they don't hide that they have a spouse.
It's 12:54 and I told my wife that I would clean the bathroom because we've been using it a lot lately. I had somebody ask me the other day if I was ever going to go out and get a regular job and just start piling everything in the crib because you got to change the sheets anyway. And to clean out this toothbrush holder, just put some all-purpose spray in it. Yes, the bottom of this is yucky, but nobody's putting their toothbrush in like this. Everybody's doing it like this, so you're good. And then just put some water in it and let it sit while you clean. It's 1:05. You would think 12 people are in here brushing their teeth. We have 6 toothpastes, and we'll just keep them for good luck. And remember rule number 1, if you put things in a basket, then it'll look good. And I usually use the bathroom, I don't know, maybe like 5 times a day. Does anybody have a TV in their bathroom? I'm not sure why these are even called bathrooms. Don't rooms need like a closet?
And I think the reason why Chris feels comfortable like copying Joey Fu style is because someone had commented on his post in January and said, giving me Joey Fu vibes, because that's when he like started testing it, is what I saw from watching his content. And he said, let's tag him in this video to see if he'll respond at Joey Fu, where you at? And then Joey actually commented saying, the camera falling made me laugh. Thanks for keeping that in. And then he communicated with him like a little bit further. And then on another video, Joey in February said, good job, bro. We got this. And he said, thank you, man. Yes, we do. Because he still continued to copy him. And so normally what happens on TikTok when someone copies like someone's exact style, like whether it's word for word or their style, someone will do a video saying like, hey, this person's copying my style and no one's done videos like this. Even though it's the internet and everyone can copy each other, like it just is what it is, right? It's like, should you? I don't know. But like, it's fine, I guess, if you do, because you're a different person, you know? But if it was a woman, someone would definitely call it out. But not that men don't, but I see it more on the women's side of TikTok. It's just probably because like what's recommended to me. But he didn't like say anything because obviously I am biased because I think Joey Fu is a really great person. He has a great following. Like people genuinely believe that Joey Fu is who he's presenting. And I've been on his TikTok lives and he is exactly the same. And I could say for like 99% of the people I follow on TikTok or who I come across my For You page, even if I don't follow them, their TikTok lives, they are the complete opposite. Like if they come across such a nice person, they're like an ass on their TikTok lives. Like even people you wouldn't even expect to be like people who are like, who did like investigation type stuff. Like I won't name names, but this happens a lot and it ruins creators for me all the time. And I was like, please don't let it ruin it for you, Joey Fu. And then went on, he was exactly the same. So that's why I'm speaking so highly of him. But I think that's why he continued copying Joey and it's like working for him because of that. I mean, I feel like Joey should protect his brand. Like this is what he does. And I know it's not like 100% like you can't be this way, but like the whole questions between like, did anyone ever tell you this? Like that's Joey. Everyone knows it's him, which is why people commented. And that is not Chris. You know, he's trying a different angle because he did the broke dad and then he does the cleaning and whatever and like throwing everything. He never did that before. And then now he's doing it, you know, because people are like, your house is a disaster. But like, who else has a disaster? Joey's, you know, so blah, blah, blah. But like, Joey's genuine. So I think that's why people like him. And also he talks about his wife and whatever. But side tangent, I just had to go into that. I like it. Yeah. So another thing that happens all the time in his comments is that people are like, where's mom? And like, he never responds to it other than like, I told you, I personally only saw it twice where he responded. But most people are like, she works opposite shifts. You know, the mom watches, he has no wife. He's a single dad, like all this kind of stuff. And then most of them, not most, a decent number will say like, oh, she doesn't like to be on camera, blah, blah, whatever. So to address that, I found this comment here back in 2023 of September where someone said, I'm so glad you have a wife and a mama. Your kids are adorable. You're doing so great. We'd love to meet her. Because remember when I said he did that Q&A in 2023, which I think is deleted from his TikTok, but it's still on his Instagram and his Facebook and his YouTube, I think. And he said, thank you. I'm going to see if I can convince her to come on for a video because she doesn't want to be on it. But his brand is like, you know, solo dadding. He was testing it at that time in 2023. And now, and then we really ended it. He said she doesn't want to be on. But what's ironic to me is that I did see today that the Dad Challenge podcast covered the solo dad, which I was surprised that he did it, because like I've shown you, I've been looking into this for a little while, but I didn't talk about it because I'm like a very small channel and not many people would see it anyways. But then seeing that he did this, I was like, maybe I should just show you guys what I found. And then he made a really good point. I know people don't like him, but he does do some good videos in my opinion. And sorry if you don't like that I do like watching some of his videos, is that he uses his children for content, right? He has them all plastered out there. They're in diapers, you know, whatever. He's using his kids for content. Why should his wife get the privacy because she doesn't want to be on the internet? She is on the internet on public profiles that I found, and I wasn't going to share them. I saw this video and I was like, that's freaking right. He shares his kids without their consent. You know, they're not at the age of consent. They can't consent to it. Why should his wife be given the same privacy? I'm not sharing her name, but why should she be given the same privacy, you know? And so I don't think that people who use their kids for content repeatedly and like whatever, and his kids are always sick, well, like using that so hard should be like, why is the adult given that? And his wife knows he's like lying by omission is lying. Even if you've only shared it once, people don't know, and you're trying to create this brand for yourself. And I'm going to share in a little bit why I think he's creating this brand for himself as the solo dad. I also was looking for interviews. I don't think he would ever do an interview because it will destroy his brand. He will not be able to say like, oh, so people will be like, well, why do you say solo? Everyone thinks you're single. You know, that's what his content comes across as. I don't think he'll ever get the interview. He won't be able to grow as high as he wants to grow. Like, he's going to grow. Obviously, he's pretty big already, but he's never going to reach the level of like Good Morning America interviewing people or Kelly Clarkson. Like, that's not going to happen, because then they're going to dig a little bit deeper and be like, oh, so you have a wife, you know, and then it's just content's going to have to change. He'll lose subscribers or followers, and then he will build it back up, obviously, because he is likable. Like, I liked his content before I came across that video on my For You page, you know, so not that this matters so big, but to me, it actually does. I was raised Christian, went to Bible school at Hillsong, you know, like in Australia. Like, I did all the things. I drank the Kool-Aid and whatever. So he posted this video in July, time to get my worship on. It was like a day in the life, and he went to church that day. I did figure out, I think, what church he goes to, but I'm not going to share that. It's completely irrelevant. But he is a Christian. That's the religion that he is a part of. And it makes me think of the grift. Like, I'm like, okay, it makes sense now. Like, he's a Christian grifter liar. Like, by omission, I know he's not like an outright liar, but like, it makes perfect sense to me now at this point. So if you are someone who is in like the anti-family vlogging world opinion stance, or you watch Dad Challenge podcast, or people like him, or you are a Christian or were a Christian, you're going to know some of these people. And it's interesting. I looked at his followers list. As you can see, I already have it up here. You're probably looking at it, but he follows Milena Ciciotti. I used to follow her. I used to watch her on YouTube, and she is like, I don't even have to talk about it. If you know, you know. And he follows Doherty Dozen. I know nothing about Doherty Dozen besides what the Dad Challenge podcast shares, but I think if he were to watch this video, which he's probably not going to, but he would find that fascinating that the solo dad follows Doherty Dozen. He only follows 201 people, you know, so it has to be people he clearly likes emulating or following and wants to be part of that niche. And I feel like he's probably always wanted to be a family vlogger, in my opinion. He also follows Delilah Lepke. I don't like her. I used to be like a religious watcher of her, but my eyes started getting open. Obviously, a lot of us, whether you like Dad Challenge podcast or not, a lot of us, our eyes were open to the world of family vlogging because of him, and didn't realize how wrong it was till you got your eyes opened, you know? And Delilah is like one of the fakest people ever, in my opinion, and a lot of people who don't like her content. She's a Canadian family vlogger who exploits her kids to the nth degree, if I'm using that correctly. And what makes me think that he's always wanted to be a family vlogger is the fact that he follows Casey Holmes. She's someone I watched like pre-COVID times. Like, she was the OG vlogger type person, and I don't watch her anymore. I have no idea what she's up to, but that's why I kind of think so. And it's funny because he also follows Tiffany Beeston, and that makes me think of YouTuber Headlines, because yes, I watch her as well. But and obviously follows Joey Fu. Like, why wouldn't he? Obviously, if he emulates his content. And look, Brittany Bourne Leach. I have no idea who Tiffany Beeston is and Brittany Bourne Leach, other than when Dad Challenge podcast or YouTuber Headlines cover them. I have no idea. I only know their names because of them, but they were or are people who were big in the family vlogging world as well. A big shocker, but not, as he follows Cecily. We all know her pajama drama, and A lot of people have covered her. I didn't cover it. Kendra Atkins, I was shocked seeing that. I completely forgot about her. I used to watch her pre-COVID as well, and I know she stopped doing vlogging. I don't know if she had like a change of heart. I don't know if she shows her kids anymore. I feel like she stopped showing them, but it's interesting that he follows her as well. I'm going to get into this in a second, but he follows Dad Social, and I have my opinions about Dad Social, but whatever. He also follows Jordan Page, and I only know about Jordan Page from YouTuber Headlines and then covering Ruby Frankie and Jody Hildebrandt because I think she did Connections classroom course. From what I saw in my research, I believe I was correct in that because they did like, it was kind of like MLM style is what Jody did, and I'm sure it's going to be covered in one of the future documentaries. There's at least 2 documentaries coming out about Jody Hildebrandt. One's from Netflix and one's from ID. Hilarious. He follows Tara Henderson. Like, I used to follow her as well. I haven't watched her long. I unsubscribed. I haven't watched her. I've only seen YouTuber Headlines cover the Texas Mom Talk drama stuff that I had no idea was even going on. But it's funny, like all these people he follows. This is why I think he always wanted to be in it. I don't know how long he followed them, obviously. I showed a couple screenshots of things that I found were interesting. I was like, what? And he mainly follows women, which is also interesting. But his wife wasn't on there, but it's interesting. And none of his family that I can see are on here. Yeah. So obviously what Chris's goal here is to carve out his section of the internet for his dad content, and he brands himself the solo dad, which is why I think he's not gonna be able to get away from that and not do any interviews, because then he's gonna have to let people know without a doubt that he has a wife and start mentioning her. There are many people who are doing this, obviously, but these are some of the biggest creators that I see all the time. There's Dad Social, which is Mason Smith. He was recently, and I mentioned earlier about like how Chris will never be on like Good Morning America or Kelly Clarkson. That's because Mason was on Kelly Clarkson, because I've had like my feelings about Mason only because like he does wonderful things like create crazy trains for his daughter. That's how he got on the show, and like crazy home projects. Like my daughter wanted this, so I, made this big thing. He's like the Nara Smith of toddler content, of making stuff, but he obviously makes a buttload of money. Like all his views, like it's crazy. He makes like hundreds of thousands of dollars, probably millions of dollars on TikTok, making that type of content, and that's why he does it. So that's why I think it's for show, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's entertaining, people like it, but it's not my type of content that I like to consume because it feels fake to me. It's just for the content. It's not like what his daily life is about, like he's the most amazing dad, look at you do all this stuff. Like I don't compare any other guy to him, because I'm like, you're doing this for, like, if anyone had the ability to like their whole life was making content that made them seem like an amazing person. I don't know if he has a job outside of this, probably not, because he 4.7 million followers, and how much money he makes, like obviously not. And then there's this guy, the Tired Dad. He always shows his wife. I know that Mason does as well, which is fantastic. The Tired Dad talks about like showing up as partner, the husband, all that sort of thing. He has really great content. I'm surprised he's not bigger, honestly. And then this is my personal favorite. Like I follow him, as you can see, he's the only one of these guys I follow. But Dad Advice from Bo, he has 3.8 million followers. He makes content for people who, like, in case your dad didn't tell you or you didn't have a dad. Like, I didn't have a dad. Yes, I was raised by my grandparents pretty intermittently, but more so throughout junior high and high school. But I was still never shown stuff, like learn the things you should learn about a car and all this stuff. Like, I never knew any of that. And so I appreciate people doing content like this because I've learned stuff from, like, how to defog my windows in the winter and, heat up my car fast, and then make sure I can drive and not have it frosted up. Like, what do I do then? And panicking, like people can make fun of people who don't know that stuff, but you don't know what you don't know. And if you don't have a father teaching you that stuff, how are you going to know, and not that women don't know, but hopefully you understand what I mean. And then there's Dad. He's also a big content creator. I'm surprised but not surprised how much he has on TikTok. I am subscribed, or was subscribed to him on YouTube. I think I still am, honestly. I love his content. Yes, he shows his kids, but his wife is very much in his content, and he doesn't hide that at all. None of these men hide that they have a wife. And that's why I think it's sketchy with the solo dad. Unfortunately, he's carved this way for himself, and that's just going to be what it's going to be. But I don't like or appreciate the lying by omission. And I know I've been repetitive, but it was angering to me. So my final thoughts on Chris, the solo dad, is that it's better to be honest and not grift. And you would think that your conscience of being a Christian would help you reach that point of understanding. But I hope seeing that more creators are covering this man in his content. I hope he maybe gets some sort of self-reflection going on and realizes that it's better to, he can still do his content and say that he is a dad of 3 with the wife in healthcare. Like, try the healthcare thing. Like, those videos didn't do as well for him because he has shared that he's like a healthcare worker, and that does work, but only if he adds in solo parenting. I think know the room. Like, we're in a high, crazy time of inflation. A lot of us are living paycheck to paycheck and struggling, and it is not easy. And to say that you are broke is really tone deaf in the world that we live in today. So watch your words when you're a content creator. And if you say something and you fuck up, then apologize and move on. So that's what I think. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. I prefer shooting in the daylight. It is so much more visually appealing. It makes the video just look so much better. But in my time in my life, in this season of my life, sorry to sound Christianese, I'm not in that world anymore, but I can't get it out of me. The season of life that I'm in right now is that I can't film when I want to. It really sucks. Just, it doesn't work. And the only time I can do it is right now at night, watching the baby monitor, and that's all that works. But visually it will get better. And you know, we're in winter right now. The sun will set later as we get into spring and summer. So if you hold out till it looks a little bit better, I would appreciate that. But I totally get it if you don't, because I don't like watching videos that don't look the most amazing. But I also like some videos that people do in the dark like this. And yeah, my light is so bright in my eyes, it gives me a headache. It doesn't matter. Anyways, I hope you guys had a wonderful start to your new year, that you are making it through any hard times, because trust me, I'm there, and life is not easy. So thank you for being here, and Happy New Year.